chasing big causes is what has caused death threats for you, Sarah, right?
Yes,
Tell
yeah.
me, tell me, and tell us about how does that belief lead you to being threatened, and how does that either is that boundary between you're invaded by fear and like come on bring it on, I'm gonna basically that's gonna be the fuel to do more. Tell us that about that.
Yeah, so the story behind that and what happened is, and some of it's a little bit sensitive, so people have to read between the lines. But when we started the campaigning against Donald Trump very publicly, what had happened is there was a team of young girls in Kabul who were trying to compete in the Washington DC robotics competition. And they were competing against global north teams from major cities around the world, but they had created their robot. They had to create a robot that would be entered into the competition from recycled bits and pieces from, they were coming from a situation
Wow.
where they hadn't, they weren't in a school and so on. And they had managed to gain a place in that Washington, DC competition against all odds.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, what an amazing story, those girls, I look up to them. This is fantastic. And they were aged between 12 and 14, 15. And they were then unfortunately told at the very last minute, about 8 months before the competition, that they were being banned from traveling under the Muslim travel ban that was implemented by Donald Trump. And I remember as a team, I'm surrounded by feisty people in Inspired Minds, because we hire people that have a very strong why, a very strong passion for cause. And some of the people within the organization said, we can't let this happen. This is actually in our sector. This is robotics, it's AI. What the hell are we going to do about it? And I was like, well, I don't know. What should we do? This is like,
Right.
we don't have any cash. What should we do? So we started a campaign. We literally started a social media campaign that said, and sometimes that's the beauty of being a small independent organization, because we were a little bit unbridled in the way that we could do that, because I was like, let's try and see what
Just
happens.
do it.
So we went out and said, actually, this is unacceptable. We're campaigning against that. And as a result, and the reasons we were campaigning against it were because it didn't embrace equality. There needed to be more women and girls in artificial intelligence, and this was a hindrance to that. If we were eliminating people before they even managed to get school age competitions, it was ridiculous. And people got behind that cause because it triggered so many emotions for people, and quite rightly so. And anger is a fantastic emotion for change. If you can capture that and use it in a way that becomes that kind of emotional contagion that I told you, I was talking about before. People were outraged, absolutely outraged. Unfortunately, as a result of us campaigning, we did get the visa overturned. The girls went to Washington.
Amazing.
Yeah. But also we invited them to World Summit AI, and we got visas and a safe passage for them to come to Amsterdam. And they became champions of education for girls. And as a result, I started getting these death threats and messages, which were firstly just messages across social media that I had to stop what I was doing or my life was in danger. And then I got a delivery to my home, which was a casino chip. That was a black casino chip, and then it just basically said, next time you're betting, we're betting on your life, type thing. And it was yeah. So that's when the police got involved, and it got very serious, and we had to kind of realize that what we were doing was going to cause substantial change, and because of that it was going to cause substantial upset. And I think it was at that point that we decided as a business that this is exactly what we wanted to do.